I saw a post the other day. If you are aware of all of the things that you do wrong without acknowledging what you do right, then you are not self-aware, you're mean. And I was like, oh, I think that's me. I've been looking at myself in the mirror and I've just been having negative ass, nasty ass, judgmental thoughts. So then I told myself, Tina, get the fuck away from the mirror. You're not allowed to look at yourself. You're not allowed to look at yourself for the next week until you figure this shit out. Because if there's something you want to change, go ahead and change it. And if you're not doing anything about it, then you have to love yourself. At the end of it, you need to love yourself through this process. Today, I am deciding to go back to the things that I wrote in high school, the essays that I wrote in high school, and read them. I didn't know that I like to talk, that I was a spiritual person, and it was very fucking obvious in my essays. In high school, I know that I was a rigid black and white little bitch, so I didn't like change, and I didn't like emotions. I was very much like a robot. I didn't like to feel my feelings. Very conditional with everything in my life. We're gonna start from the beginning. Oh, I remember this! Fuck! This one is called Next Year. Pretty sure. You just have to go up in front of the class and say what were your goals for the next year, which is very funny, very coincidental, because today is January 10th and we're in the new year. Next year, I believe I will be the same. See how I didn't like change? I know it's not as uplifting, but I'm being realistic. I came into this assignment thinking, what would you guys want to hear? What would Trouts want me to say? I came with the mindset that my change was getting graded. I even thought about saying that I'm gay, lying, knowing that I'll have a good reaction. But then I thought, why am I trying so hard to fake an opinion that none of me believes in? There's a saying that says, don't change anything that isn't broken. And I'm not broken. I'm at a good spot with my friends, my family, and my grades. I'm so incredibly content with my life right now that I don't have a need for change. So yes, next year I'm going to be the same. I'm going to keep doing the things I've always been doing because I'm doing something right. I'm going to be me. So corny, bro. I get it, and I was also young, and there you go again, me hating myself. This is what I genuinely believed at the time in 2015. 10 years! Whoa. We're on the 9th year. This is 9 years after I wrote this. She really said, I was about to say I'm gay, knowing that I'll have a good reaction, lying. No, I'm fucking bisexual. I'm gay. So that wasn't a lie. That was just me lying to myself. Don't change anything that isn't broken. And yes, that was true. At the time, I wasn't broken, but there were definitely a lot of things that needed to be healed. Hence this channel, hence the growth, hence the topics that I talk about. This one's titled Getting to Know You. A book that has altered me in some way has to be Sirens of Titan. I don't remember what that book is anymore at all. By Kurt Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut has shown his harsh yet interesting views on religion that has refined my perspective. I used to be very one-minded about this whole subject, that there is no God and people are just finding excuses to try to understand things they don't. The book made me realize that it does not have to be one way, but many. But until I know what it is, I should not judge others because of their theories. Very true. During this time, again, black and white mindset, I was just young. I went to a church and I went to a temple and I felt like the spirit in both. And I was like, if I feel it in both, none of it must be true. So then I denied all of it. That's actually a very mature line that I said to myself. Good job, Tina. You don't know, they don't know either. We're all guessing, so fuck it. 2, the feeling of wanting to make others proud of me drives me to want to become a better version of myself. Talking about the last video, the wound of external validation is very strong for me and still is here. I had the need to still prove myself and make others proud. All right, number 3. I express myself through humor. In serious situations, I try not to be serious even though I can be. I'd rather use humor to lighten the mood. I express myself through athleticism. Whoa! It shows them I don't back down when things get difficult. It shows that I push. I don't even know what I was answering here, bro. Like, why did I not put the questions? But yeah, I was an athlete in high school, and it's crazy that I used to carry this role so heavy. That's fucking nuts. I played lacrosse, and lacrosse was my shit, but I tried other sports like field hockey and volleyball and whatever. It shows them I don't back down when things get difficult. Like, what? It's okay. It's what she believes. Okay. I believe. Let me not associate. It's what I believe. I want to learn to not be intimidated by anything and take them head on. I want to be less critical of myself while also being able to accept criticism. Something I'm still learning, and I guess I've always knew that I had that problem. Not being intimidated by anything, the idea of fear or taking a risk has always been like, but that's just my paradigm of control and what I need to break down. What was I saying in the beginning of this video? Yes, I need to be less critical of myself. I need to stop being mean to myself. I don't think I can ever really shut up that voice in my head that says oh, something about my stomach or something about my hair or something about my lashes or my skin or everything physical about me. It's just gonna happen. I have a very judgmental mind. Now I know how to counteract it. Now I'm acknowledge it. I'm aware of it. I put myself in timeout when I'm being an asshole. 5, I want to be able to work at an efficient speed. I don't know if I do that, bro. I work at my speed and I go off my time. I do things in a very chaotic way, but it's my chaos, you know? Like, it's something that I can understand. It's my process. Efficient? No. But true to me? Yes. 6, I live with my 2 brothers and 2 sisters, grandma and grandpa, aunt, and my mother. Whoa, this was when my aunt still lived in the house. 7, I play lacrosse and volleyball. I'm in ASA, Leo Club, and French Club. I went to join photography and yearbook. Never did that. I thought that shit was lame and corny as fuck. 8, this year I want to become more of a leader than a follower. I don't want to be that person to follow someone's shadows. I don't want to be that person sitting here and wishing I was over there. I want to be that person that is there. I guess that's always been my energy too. Like, I've always been very bold just because of trauma and dad and whatever the fuck. Like, I never wanted to be behind something. I never wanted to not know what was going on anymore. So I was like, I'm going to lead that. How are you right now? When discovering that these introspects were going to be a continual thing, I was honestly mad. I knew I was unhappy, but I didn't know why, and that frustrated me. And at the time, I was ready just to write something uplifting, something you'll want to hear, get the A, move on. So I'm on my phone just beginning to wrap up this happy introspect on a late Thursday night, and I hate it. How's I supposed to turn this in if none of it is me? I delete everything and I start pouring my soul out, start saying problems I don't even know that I felt, problems within myself, not having the best relationships with my family, my friends, and feeling just so lost. Wow, isn't that crazy? This shift that I made, wow, at the end of the year, May 2016, I was able to be honest. And I told myself in the beginning, the first thing that we ever wrote, I'm not gonna change. There's nothing to fix. Nothing's broken. And here at the end of the year, I'm telling myself, yeah, I'm not happy. And I'm not having good relationships with my family, my friends. That's funny. Let's keep going. Taking pride in believing I'm so realistic. And this is the first time I have been truly honest with myself all year. And looking back on past introspect, it's kind of sad to acknowledge that I didn't make this change sooner. That I dragged this gloominess with me that I've reflected on every action I did. At this moment in time, I'm so sick of having to write about my sadness that I'm just going to change my habits for the long run. I'm progressing with my life after an overdue pause. I'm moving on. I'm sick of having to write about my sadness, which is very true. Like, I have a set of journals over there. I have like 3 of them. I was a very depressed motherfucker in middle school and high school. This point in my sophomore year, I was tired of being sad. Like, I didn't want to fucking just be that Tumblr bitch anymore. I wanted to be happy. I didn't want to fake it. So that's interesting that I knew to make this change and I was aware that I was lying to myself. This one's titled, When was the last time you lost track of time? When I lost track of time, I was still holding the mentality that purely everything I do is merely just to make me happy. When my outlook towards school wasn't something seemingly strenuously forced upon me, that I did not have to write like that. If there's any high schoolers, you don't have to seemingly strenuously, alright, forced upon me. I'm hating myself again. But it's just funny, bro. Anyway, it's not that serious. But rather something granted to me as a chance of enlightenment. When every encounter with my friends mattered because it ultimately refined and bettered our relationship for the long run. How dare I say, like, I'm not an emotional person? Because I feel like what I'm doing and what I'm describing as, like, what were my intentions and what made me happy is very emotionally based. It's like I went to school. The last time I lost track of time was when I looked at school, and not because it was forced, but because I got to learn. And when I hung out with my friends, because it made our relationship better and it made it stronger. To carry myself in a way where I was the person you could come to for the thrill of a great, meaningful conversation. When sitting outside in the sun, evening out my tan. Oh man. Evening? Even. That's a word, right? Evening? No, that's not a word. Evening. Even. Like, I wanted to even out my tan. Alright, and I was still meditating and doing this bullshit. Okay. Even at 16? That's kind of nice. Time when I enjoyed life was when I lost track of time. When I enjoyed life was when I lost track of time. Nowadays, it's not that I completely stopped aiming for all of those things, but rather I settled that doing those continual habits for a short period of time was good enough, and having those initial impressions was fine. Whoa! I wonder if Trout read that message and then figured, like, the mask, bro. The fucking mask and the manipulation? It's kind of insane. I only did those continual habits for a short period of time because it was good enough for me. So I manipulated myself thinking, like, oh yeah, this is who I am now. Which is kind of still a bad habit that I have now. So I'm gonna fix that. And then having those initial impressions was fine. So initial impressions with myself, but especially with other people. I said this to my cousin as a joke. I told her that sometimes when I'm holding on to a secret, it feels too hard to contain anymore. So I just have to say it. And I say it because I just need to get it out of my system and know that somebody else outside of me heard it. And I play it off as a lie even though it's true. So technically, I told the truth, but I played it out to be a lie so no one else would ever think about it again. I don't think I should keep that in the video. I don't think I should keep that in the video because I think it's actually a very negative trait to have. And I was thinking about it in the shower, like, why do you do that? Why? I don't do it all the time, please don't. I don't think I'm a bad person. But sometimes it's like, why? Like, why do you need to do that? Why do you have shame? Even if it's a secret, it's not that bad. Like, the things that I lie, No, not lie. The things that I lie about aren't even that bad, even though it's true. Like, who the fuck cares? It's not a problem. I think I do it because I want to test out that kind of thought. I want to test out that level of weird with other people and see how they react to a lie. So then I know what to do for the future when I'm really saying a truth. Next reading. What question are you avoiding? Okay. I did not want to answer who I actually was as a person deep down. I can analyze everything and everyone, but when it comes to me, I can't do it. I can say the obvious stuff like how I'm very organized, honest, reserved, hardworking, cold, and sarcastic. But honestly, I feel like I'm a very boring person. When reading that question, competitive was the one word screaming. I always have to be in front of a line when my team runs. I fight against the cold weather when I'm actually struggling. I always turn everything into a bet. I always ask if someone wants to race. I constantly push myself to the limit. It's an internal competition for the best opportunities in life, as would anyone, but not so much for my future, but for my present. I can't believe I quoted one of my best friends. She said that. I didn't say that. I do things because I feel as if there is no point unless I, in a sense, win. And because of this, I feel as if there's no fun parts about me because I do want everything to be perfect. That because I have that standard, there's no room for creativity in my life. Because my life is so set in a one-way train that can only keep going forward. I want to be able to say so much more and that I'm a person with many sides, but honestly, it consumes my life for the better and pushes me forward. That this one trait is really what defines me. I was writing this when I was 16. I'm kind of really proud of myself because I think that that's very like introspective. It's very self-aware. There are no fun parts about me because I do want everything to be perfect. It's not fun because it's perfect. Whoa! I knew this then, but I was like, I'm like kind of forgetting this because I still think I'm very competitive now. Actually, more recently, I started awakening this competitive side of myself because I was bored. Interesting that at 16, I knew that this was like the one trait about me that stands out the most. I'm a competitive person. I guess my best friend at the time knew me the best, so she was saying I had an internal competition. And it was an internal competition for the best opportunities in life, just like anybody else would, but it wasn't for my future, but for my present. So I kept trying to find the best, and I thought that this competitive part of me was not fun. The question I was avoiding was, who am I? Who am I deep down? Being in front of the line when team runs that makes sense for being competitive. But the cold weather when I'm actually struggling, that's interesting. Because I don't need a jacket, but you guys do. And yeah, that's probably, no, if I'm cold, I'm allowed to be cold, and it doesn't mean shit if I'm a human reacting to the weather. That's crazy. No, I do that now. I feel like at this point, I was getting annoyed of myself because I was realizing how tight and rigid and cold I was being with life and how stern it was and how strict it was, and I wasn't having fun. I wasn't having fun because it was only one path and I didn't leave room for me to be flexible, to be creative, to do what I wanted in my life, and I'm getting frustrated. Like I'm reading it, I'm sensing it that I'm getting frustrated with myself. Interesting. What are you pretending not to know? In the beginning of the year, I presented a speech explaining to the class how I would not change, how continuing the things I've been doing all my life will be fine. And at that moment in time, I was truly okay with settling. It seemed perfect. Settling! And I knew that I was settling! Okay. Fast forward and I'm doing these tarot cards at a friend's house. This is the start of me and my spirituality. I can't believe I wrote about this. Fast forward and I'm doing these tarot cards at a friend's house, and they supposedly help you out by foreseeing the future. Something intended merely for fun. Supposedly help you out by seeing the future. I don't know if I even do that now. Like I don't try to understand too much of the future. I try to understand the energies within the present and what could happen. Because of what, like, the focus is the present. Anyways, interesting to me. I flip over a card and it tells me that I'm going to lose something. And it is going to be a very emotional time for me. My stomach drops and all these feelings and thoughts flood my mind, and I start to stress about my happiness. I wasn't ready for change. Then I thought, if I don't do anything, there's no way for anyone to feel anything towards me, nor will anything change since I'm not doing anything anyways. Time passes by and I slowly start noticing myself drift from my friends. I don't text them as often, Snapchat them as often. And besides the daily encounters in school, I ended up being in a place where I started talking to no one. I was seriously at a low. I was alone. Looking back, I realized that I physically never lost anything, but literally lost a part of myself in trying to avoid change. I'm pretending not to know that I have changed and that I'm not the same. That I'm not the same person who had the best relationships with her friends, her family. This is kind of interesting. Thanks, Trouts. Thanks for making us write this. Like, I totally fucking forgot about this. Hold on. Physically, I never lost anything, but I literally lost a part of myself in trying to avoid change. And today I was watching a video and they said the only thing that's constant in this world is change. That's the only thing that you can depend on. And trying to avoid it made change happen anyways. Interesting. Hold on. And then I thought, if I don't do anything, there's no way for anyone to feel anything towards me. And there, I go towards my relationship with other people first. And then I say, nor will anything change since I'm not doing anything. Then I think about myself. Interesting. Time passes by. I drift away from my friends. I don't text them as often, Snapchat as often. Really doing that? I don't remember that. But I also don't remember a lot from high school. But yeah, if I'm not doing anything, it makes sense that I didn't want to risk anything for the biscuit. So I wouldn't be reaching out to them. That's funny. Interesting. All right, let's keep going. So the answer is, what was I pretending not to know? That I wasn't the same person, even though I tried to be the same person. What do you think about when you lie awake in bed? All right, let's see. When I lie awake in bed, my mind honestly goes off into a hurricane of questions. There are so many aspects that play a part into my life that I just love to assess everything. I like thinking about my past, wondering if I could have done things differently, what would have happened. I question my mean, petty personality and go deep into thought why I still had friends. What if I stuck with the popular crowd? What if I didn't allow myself to separate from a time period of complete isolation? What if I didn't get left back? What friends would I have now? What if I do like girls? Then sometimes I start building off of my own psych profiles for my friends. Then I question my relations to them. Am I really benefiting them as much as they're benefiting me? Oh, self-doubt. Do I show them that? How can you care so much but act so emotionless towards your friends? I knew that. Even here, oh my god. Yeah, what? I'm such an introspective, emotional person. I care about everything and like everyone and my relationship to them and their relationship to me and if I'm doing enough and like how can I be like them? How can it be better for them? Wow, this Tina was so sweet. I don't know why reading that made me want to cry for a little. I don't know why. How can you care so much but act so emotionless towards your friends? Why are you scared of anything dealing with sad matters? Do you care about the right things? My mind goes into crazy topics when lying awake. Sometimes I bring up questions but can't answer them because it is overrun by a different and better question. I feel like I want to cry because I'm remembering how painful it was for me during this time. Like, I was seriously, genuinely depressed. And I think I was so depressed and frustrated in my life because I was not even repressing. I don't even think it was my choice. At this time, when I'm just like 15, 16, it wasn't my choice. I was just scared of my emotions and scared of confronting them. But I knew that there was a part of me that was missing. And I was like, I yearned to feel, but I didn't know what would happen if I stayed in this space and if I allowed myself to. So yeah, I'm over here getting frustrated with myself. I feel a lot towards them. I think a lot about them. But it's like, one time my cousin made a really great analogy. She was like, I'm in a glass box. Everyone can see me. I can see them, but we don't intersect. And that's genuinely how I felt at the time too. So even though I was surrounded by people, I was really lonely because I was missing the company of my heart. What's holding me back? Oh, what? Okay. I initially got Snapchat because it was something personal. Aside, only my friends and family could see. And when I discovered that you could post snaps for everyone, I remember thinking I would never post anything on my story. That's crazy because I post so much on my story. I post like every fucking single day, which is so funny. On my Instagram, like I wasn't scared to share anything. At the time, I cared enough to the extent that 20 reactions would scare me. Wow. I cannot fathom me being so insecure about views because it's like, this is just something I do now. Like, I don't really care. I make what I make and I do what I want and I don't really care what people have to say, how many people see it. Like, I do it because if I don't, I will be sad. So I do it for myself. This is very funny. Very cool to see the difference. All right. With one-to-one snaps, I could see the reaction. But on my story, how do I know what they feel? What to feel? And to be honest, I don't remember when I started to post things on my story. But ever since people started snapping me back positive things, telling me my Snapchats are hands down the best from everybody that they have, which is very true, but I can never post them because 2016, we were very out of pocket. All right. It felt really good to know that the things I put out actually make people laugh. Sometimes I think maybe I could do so much more, have a bigger audience to entertain. Interesting. So this is when I started thinking about creating content in 2016. Interesting. Okay. 10 years ago, this is when I started thinking about making content from Snapchat. Thanks, Snapchat. All right. But there's always that uncertainty that I'm not the person to take chances ever, which is true. I didn't want to take chances then. I wish I could sit here and say that the public is holding me back is their fault because it would be so much easier to admit. But for me, I know I'm my biggest challenge. Self-awareness. For now, I'm taking baby steps. Maybe puppy steps. Kitty just bore out the womb 3 minutes ago. Didn't even open her eyes yet. Steps. But I'll get there. Probably. Wow. So in this moment, I realized what made me happy. And it's like the things that were really consuming me at the time were my relationship to myself, my relationship with other people, the perception, right? The bond of it, right? And then I found something that made me able to connect to these people in a different platform, different wavelength, different way. And that inspired me to hold on to this dream, this vision, this passion that I had of people, of humanity. And I made this commitment to myself. I'm going to make content and I'm going to reach a bigger audience, and it's going to take time, but I am going to be there. Interesting. Okay, let's keep going. This was senior year of high school. This is an essay that I wrote. I remember walking through school and feeling my heart pound against my ribcage. My breath was forcefully entering and escaping my body. My arms and legs felt heavy as I walked through the hallways, each step becoming harder and harder to compose. Gravity held its hand with mine and pulled me close. When I looked up, I saw my friends happily waiting for me outside of the cafeteria. Then my chest ached and my nose hurt and my hands balled into a fist and I broke out into tears. I frantically admitted, I'm not happy. I'm lost. I'm confused. Life is unfair. I do not want change. I do not want to be like this. I could hear the silence and it felt as if the world waited patiently for me. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and the words, I'm pregnant with Peter, called off of my tongue. In that moment, it felt as if time sped up and all of my emotions crashed onto me, and the excitement of my friends muted everything else. Then I woke up. I questioned, why was I pregnant with Peter? Why was everything so happy for me? Do they not care that I'm just 16? I then quickly dismissed the thought, figuring dreams are just fun stories created in my head merely because my brain has the capability to do so. I was too busy concentrating in the real world to focus on this fantasy anyways. This is when I didn't know dream, subconscious, very important tied together. Sophomore year was just beginning, and as the day went on, it turns out that Peter was in 8 out of my 9 classes. I never knew him personally, but he was around me all the time. So it is not hard to predict that our friendship was formed easily. A little past half of the school year, our bond became progressively stronger and the question of dating popped up. Peter was free-willed, which was the complete opposite of my analytical lifestyle, but I needed change and I was bored. We started dating and our honeymoon phase quickly came and disappeared. I became controlling of the relationship and demanded for more. He did not try to understand and gave up altogether. After 3 months, we ended up breaking it off completely, like every immature relationship, over text. Even then, I'm like over here so emotional about the relationship that I have. Like, and I still have this pattern. I'm always reflecting and thinking about what's going on in my relationships and why. Also, I want to clarify, I had this dream about Peter before we ever even dated. Just so you guys know. And this was before we were even close or we even talked to each other. Psychic? I didn't even piece the two together when I wrote this. The night after we broke up, I had a dream. I was sitting on my porch looking through my phone and I saw an item in my recently deleted that I did not recognize. As I started watching the video, I transported into the scene and the words, "Why didn't you tell me I was pregnant?" vigorously came out of my mouth. I wanted to keep the baby. We argued viciously and we hated each other. It ended up with him yelling, "Just get rid of it. What's the big deal?" The scene would replay again and again, but with different people, all of them disappointed in me. And I remember this dream. In this dream, I transported through my phone and I was on the porch and I was yelling at Peter and I was talking to him. And then the scenes literally after that, all my friends and my family, they kept replacing, shifting. You shouldn't have kept it. You should have known better. Why'd you get pregnant? Blah. All the shame and the judgment, when in the dream before, they were all happy for me that I was pregnant. I woke up in awe and I remembered all the dreams that I had deleted. I remember the dreams where I rode bikes, took long walks, and crossed busy highways with my friends, all of which I was running away from something, but do not know why or what. The scenes would pop up randomly, although very vivid, in a flash. Then I remembered that one dream I had before the school year started with my pregnancy scare. So after I had the relationship with Peter, I had this dream about me being pregnant and that, or me wanting to keep the baby. And then I woke up remembering the dream I had in the beginning of the year, seeing the contrast. Pregnancy symbolized the development of a new direction. Me desperately turning to an abortion in the first dream symbolized the rejection of change and fear within myself along this path. In the second dream, I could not help but want the baby. It wasn't something I couldn't easily ignore, nor was it something I felt complete without. I realized that the pregnancy, the direction that I was avoiding, was my emotions. Tell me that's not fucking crazy. Everything that I've written was me intensively journaling, basically, and being self-aware about myself from 2015 to 2018 is me putting everything together about my ideas of not wanting to change, my ideas of being analytical, and my ideas of running away from my emotions, but desperately wanting to feel love and expressing it. And that's what I learned in fucking high school. And me analyzing my dreams and me analyzing the symbolisms, like in this moment, I really thought that it was, yeah, it just makes sense. Like, Like, this is just me analyzing myself in my mind. But these are things that I do now, and I consider them very spiritual. Either ways, it's a method that works for me. A chaos that works for me. When I was younger, I watched When I was younger, I saw my daddy cry and curse at the wind. Alright, I really want to sing a song. Okay. When I was younger, I watched my parents' alliance unfold as one infected with toxic intentions and ingenuine sentiments, united by a marriage filled with passion for money and fear within a new country. My parents neglected the deep sentiments that were expected to be held in a marriage, and I wondered, did every other parental connection entail this much emotional damage? As a child, these standards of love destroyed my faith in relationships. My morals became selfish, and my fear of relationships evolved into a manifestation of deep insecurity. Bondage of the heart and mind coinciding with each other intimidated me. I continually seeked safety and exerted the need to exercise control over myself and others in order to feel a sense of command in any situation. And so, I carefully collected beneficial friends, crafted my handwriting to a font, and organized new information and thoughts into levels of importance, then filed them away. I only allowed experiences to occur and people to remain in my life if they were absolutely necessary. When every day became a battle against boredom and the itch to give up, I could not pretend that I did not care anymore. I could not ignore the divorce of my parents anymore. I could not pretend that I wasn't intimidated by the bondage of my heart and mind. To move on, I had to cleanse myself of my mechanical habits, my deep insecurities, and my continual need to control. From those dreams, I grew. Those dreams made me realize that I could not stay in a repetitive state of comfort. I needed to grow and challenge myself. I changed when I finally believed that I did not protect my heart by pretending that I did not have one. That is fucking beautiful. This entire essay is fucking beautiful. And I'm sending this message out there right now to all the Tinas and all the alternate realities and all the high schools right now. You are beautiful, and you can write, and you are soulful, and you are emotional, and you are recognizing and realizing and recollecting everything correctly, properly, and that is beautiful, and you are intelligent. I wrote this, and I definitely 1000% did not know that I did this. I didn't realize the impact of what the fuck this was. And I didn't understand my voice. I didn't understand the heart that was in me and how I was able to convey it. And I am so glad now that I'm able to look back and see, and I think that it is beautiful. And I don't hate myself for it. Like, in the beginning I did, right? But then, like, bro, reading this back, I forgot the path. I forgot where I started and how far I've come to, like, dude, I was amazing. Being able to understand this part of myself, like, something's off and something doesn't make sense and I'm not happy and I want things to be better. Me pushing away my competitive sense, because I think, like, I just didn't see anybody else with as much introspection and ambition as me in high school, or there probably was, but I didn't see it. So I was just like, I don't want to be the only person with this, not realizing that me having that competitive state is my fucking superpower. Wanting better for myself continually is my fucking superpower. This wasn't the start of everything. Like, it started before, but like this right here, where I said I could not pretend that I wasn't intimidated by the bondage of my heart and my mind. Those are two things that I cannot separate. It can't be black and white anymore. It's something that has to understand, and they flow and they have a language and they do things that they separately, naturally so well that I cannot ignore. And I can't force one system to understand the language of another system when they're all different. So I have to understand both, me as the perceiver, right? To try to make everything fit and make everything work and update all my systems so it can be cohesive. To move on, I had to cleanse myself of my mechanical habits, the robot within me. My deep insecurities, things I'm always working on, things that if I don't like about myself, why? And what can we do to replace it? What can we do to change it? Still mindsets I carry today. Continual need to control, things I still am working on. My need for control. And I went on a whole fucking rampage. If you watch the Let's Talk series before 32, you'll see that was the time where I let myself loose. But now we're in a period of finding balance, right? So it's pretty cool to see. When I said I changed when I changed. That's crazy. Like, me allowing myself to change when I was so scared of it. Growth. But I changed when I finally believed that I did not protect my heart by pretending I did not have one. The universe, that was a gift. Being able to speak like that is very beautiful to me. So, yeah, I'm actually just really proud of myself. I didn't protect my heart by pretending I didn't have one. I keep saying that again. I don't know why. I think I think that I was meant to see this today because I'm so tunnel vision focused onto what am I doing today to make myself better. And I forget how far I've come and how difficult it was for me to get into this spot. And I think I saw this today because in the last video I was really hating myself. I was hating myself for the process of how I learned and what I didn't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to think about it like this. It's like, it could be worse, man. You could be dumber. You could be starting off in 2015 today, 10 years later. But I'm not gonna think that. I'm just gonna be happy that I noticed it, I acknowledged it, and that is just that. That's so, wow. Okay. I fucking cannot, dude. I don't know. I think, funny enough, I'm feeling a lot of gratitude towards myself. So I don't really know how to take it. It feels really strange, you know? Thanks for coming along. Thanks for reading this stuff with me and seeing my introspection, comparing my 25-year-old self to my 15-year-old self. Very funny. Okay. I hope that you guys have a great... If you could... Wait, hold on. I just want to say, if you guys can find old writings of yourself, please do it. If you guys have not started journaling, please do it. Because to read and psychoanalyze yourself a whole 10 years later is interesting. And I actually think that it's very important to have these checkpoints for yourself. To understand the titles, the overarching titles within specific periods in your life. Helps you grow as a person, helps evolution, period. What you're doing for yourself, you're doing for everybody, so it's great. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, afternoon, morning, whatever the fuck. Whatever. Love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.